Today I'm going to deliver the last concluding session of this series. Take a look at this. We have been through all this session already. We're starting from the many people don't know who God is, and they were not knowing actually God is actually living in our heart. You don't need to search everywhere. Okay, what you need is just talking to yourself. So this first session is talk about where God is. Okay, if God is an orange, God is the seed. And the next one we talk about God. If God is a radio, how He communicate with us. So we have to tune the channel correctly to receive His message. And then the next two sessions we talk about the amusement park, and have two sessions to talk about how we supposed to be enjoying the park, because the Creator creating the park and also creating us and put us into the park. The key is we have to work with the Creator to enjoy the park the most. After that, we start to using the story of Noah to illustrate all this concept together using Noah's story. In this case, Noah go through the flood because of the but, which is he is an exception. God didn't really execute His original plan. God gives Noah or the whole human race a specific escape from the flood. What make Noah to gain the favor of God's eyes is because he has faith. Last time we explained the constituent of faith. Faith is not just believe certain fact. We also need the relationship with someone who passing you on the message. And we hope that through the interaction, we build up a trusting relationship with someone that who give you the information. So that's the trusting relationship that we would like to achieve with God. Today is the concluding section of this whole thing. Today we talk about how faith saves us. So let's take a look at the Bible verse we have last time. This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. Noah was a righteous man, blameless amongst the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. So the key is he walked faithfully with God. So first of all, you have to know first that the God exists and God did send out the messages. We can receive it, then we can faithfully walk with Him. This is the major premises of the whole salvation. Here in Romans chapter 1 verse 14 it states, but the righteous man shall live by faith. This is the most fundamental statement in the Bible regarding to how we should be living by faith. And we also saved by faith also. And its whole thing is, even here is from faith to faith. What is this all about? Right? We talk about the faith, also leading to the faith, and then the faith saves us. How does this whole thing work? So today I'm going to use a simple animation to illustrate what this seems to be a complicated concept, but actually it's a very simple concept once you understand it. I have some emoji, okay, to illustrate this whole process. Think about how Noah or even ourselves, being saved. Today also I demystify the reason why I ask you to clapping your hand if you understand the message. Remember, God lives in our heart. The God is sending out the message from our heart. He received the message, okay, talk to other people, okay, and the red meaning is that this is the message from God, okay, and obviously this guy also talked something else which is not about God, maybe about something else. But what is most important part is if the message from God, all right, this guy hear it and then amplify it. And next step is we have 2 radio. One of the radio was on. It can receive the God messages, okay, all the way to the heart. And so once this radio receive it, when you hear the message, and if you get it, you clap your hand, all right? But if the message go to the radio, which is turned off, well, that person's probably only hearing something, or someone saying something, okay? It's not the message of God, it's just the normal message, which is, yeah, I can ignore it. So that's why after most of the time when I finish the message, I ask you whether, okay, if you get it, please clap your hand. When you clap your hand, what that means is you're receiving the message all the way from God, okay? So you should be happy that you receive it, all right? This clapping is not for me. It's for yourself, for you. And also, this clapping also responded back to the Creator. Oh, you hear it. All right, that's good. That means you started to create a communication between these two. If you're the first believer or the beginner, you may receive the message, but you have doubt. Well, that's fine, because at the beginning, you may hearing something but not so clear what that is. But when you practice, follow the message and try things out and see whether the message is true or not, then you will get into the more confident level that, oh, yeah, this must be right. So you slowly, you will become this. But doubting the message is still better, okay? Because it's the developing our faith into something that you have a more affirmative action. Like in this case, the message comes to you unless your radio is on. Otherwise, the things that you come to you is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything to you. So you may just ignore it. So this is the way that we can illustrate, all right, this whole process is that, like in Noah's case, his radio is always on, and because he believes it, okay, and he working on the ark and get his whole family safe. So this is great. Meaning is that God somehow helping Noah to escape the flood. Of course, that is definitely is a good thing. Does it mean life? No, not just beyond that. Besides, God saved his life by escaping the flood. What Noah should be more happy on than just escape from the flood. The most valuable thing is because his radio is turned on. It is on. This is more important than just being safe in one flood or other situation. Having it on is more important than escape from the flood, because this is for life. So the life that we are talking about in here is shall live by faith. This live is not just a normal daily living. It means God lives in our heart. It is beyond just one incident that Noah escaped the flood. God been working with him through all the challenges in his life. So when you clap your hand, I'm so glad that, your radio may be on. Now you might be doubted, all right? But at least you receive the message. So I'm sure that this is somehow connected. That's why I want you to clap your hand. So how do we get saved and how to get the radio turned on? Now, today is the Easter Sunday, and the messages in the Easter is what? Someone raised from the dead. He's supposed to be dead, but he's alive. What does it all about? Now, this one is especially more prominent, okay? Much stronger message than the lower story that I have been talking about. Lower story seems to be, oh, well, yeah, you know, he might be lucky that, you know, gets some messages and no building an ark. I tell you, it's almost impossible, okay? For this journey, I explained, unless God told him, otherwise he has no way to know the flood's coming like this. And also, this is the vehicle that he needs, you know, to save his whole family and also the whole, all the creatures. All right. But for this one is even more extraordinary, which is what? Someone raised from the dead. This is a big statement. Using a hammer. All right. Hammer. All right. Why? Why are you using a hammer? Because if someone told you that there's a guy who wakes from the dead, and even this message come to everyone, shining through, and doesn't cause anyone to wonder, what does that really mean? If someone who completely ignored this message, well, then I don't know how big the miracle or the message that we need to weaken someone who ignored this message. This is the biggest message that God can deliver, that, okay, someone wakes from the dead. What does that mean? I think right now, a lot of people in the hospital and fighting for their life. Everyone knows that the doctor cannot save you. No way. It is not doctor who control your life. It's only God who controls our life. No doubt about it. Okay? And if God controls our life, how could this guy raise from the dead? Only one possibility. He must be God. Alright? Of course, jumping from that, it take a while to understand, you know, what the faith really is, but still, you know, the first step is you should wonder, is it really true that someone can raise from the dead? We should at least like this guy. Not like this guy. Okay? Now, if you really get into the faith, then now I can go further into this is, if this is something that is happening like this, is proof one important point in the Bible, is that Bible talk about this many years ago. Wow. His resurrection, besides to awaken our spirituality, which is turn on our radio, but at the same time, it is also the important proof to the Bible. If Bible say is right, then it is the biggest revelation of the whole humankind, because Bible has talked about many other things. If this is true, well, maybe the rest of the other fact that Bible state might be true also. That's the mystery behind the humanity, okay, about us and about our family and about others. So the message of the resurrection reminds us that the true nature of ourselves, which is God supposed to live in our heart, and so that we can reestablish the relationship with Him all the time. The way that how we establish this relationship is as long as we accept Jesus Christ into our heart. That is your first step, exactly like you clapping your hand. Meaning is, I believe it, then I work upon it, and I will put more time into studying the Bible, understand more about God and His messages, and move me from doubt to the act of faith. Faith is not just believe some fact. Faith requires us to follow the message and learn the truthfulness of the message, and then move us from doubt to the more actionable affirmative action to the message. And so that besides we escape from the calamity, but at the same time, we should be more happy that, wow, our radios turn on, and we for sure that God is in our heart. That's why this faith can save us. So that's why we shall live by faith. This faith indicates that we have life. We have God's life in our heart. And with God leading our life, we have no doubt that we become a righteous man. And I hope that this concluding lesson today encourage us that why faith is important. Okay. Faith means life. When you have God living in your heart, He will be united with us and living like Noah. He walked faithfully with God for his whole life. And remember his father, his life is perfectly planned because he followed God for his own life. And this is what the garden, which is we're supposed to be able to enjoy our life for the world that is created, and for us, He also created and put us into this world to enjoy the earth. So that's why this faith will put the God's Spirit in our heart, and we become His children and enjoying being together with our Creator, even though there's a lot of difficulties all around. But with Him in our heart, we have peace. And we don't need to worry, even though we exit the garden, we will still be happy when we seeing our Creator. How do you like the garden? You say, very good, fun. Then you will be warmly received by our Creator to the garden. Okay? So I hope that all this message combined together makes sense to you. If you understand, please clap your hand. Okay? But even though you don't, I'm still okay with that. Maybe there will be another person that can decipher this to you better. All right? This is not necessarily your problem. Could be my problem also. Okay? See you next time.